Okay, I was saying that all of us have a past, a present, and a future. When we look at the past, there are so many things we feel bad about. We have failed in so many ways, but I hope you've understood that the Lord wants to put it all under the blood of Jesus Christ and says, I will not remember your sin anymore. And one important thing is, it's a very important lesson we must all learn. I was saying that to the young people a little earlier. We must learn to treat other people the way God has treated us. Very simple lesson. Treat other people the way God has treated you. Has God been merciful to you? Be merciful to others. Has God been kind to you? Be kind to others. Has God forgiven you many sins? Forgive other people their many errors. Does God sit on your head and keep on harassing you? No. Don't sit on other people's heads and harass them. How does God speak to us? I know how He has spoken to me, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. I think back in times in my life when I did not obey God, and God would say something, I didn't take it seriously. He didn't keep on hitting me, come on, do it. No, never. Even in those days, 43 years ago, when I was so backslidden in my life, He never kept on hitting me on the head, come on, do this. He would tell me and then leave me alone for a while. And then after some time, He'd tell me again and leave me alone for a while. How long-suffering He was. God says, be like that to other people. I want to say to all of you husbands, be long-suffering with your wives. Treat your wife the way God has treated you. And I want to say, all of you wives are very happy listening to me. I want to tell you something. Treat your husbands the way God has treated you. Has God been long-suffering with you? Be long-suffering with your husband. It's a very simple rule. Treat other people the way God has treated you. If you follow that simple rule, I'll tell you, your life will be very happy. My life is happy. I don't sit on people's heads. God's given me quite a bit of authority over many people, but I don't sit on anybody's head. Even when people come to me for advice, I tell them, brother, if I were you, I would do this. I'm giving him advice in a situation. But you are not me. And you may not have my faith. So you can't do it. So you must live at your level. I can give you advice, this is wrong, this is right. But you go by how you feel. You take my advice, take it before God when you go away. Don't do it straight away. I always tell people after I give them advice, please don't do it before you go to God. Because I don't want you to be connected to me. I want you to be connected to the head, Jesus Christ. So you hear what I say and go before the Lord and say, Lord, is that what you want me to do? And if you don't feel at peace in your heart to do it, don't do it. I won't get offended. If you come back to me and say, Brother Zac, I didn't feel free to do that, fine, perfectly okay. Sometimes I get email from somebody, Brother Zac, do you think here are some job options I have to go here or there, and these are the advantages, disadvantages, and I think about it and I send him a reply. Say, yeah, consider this. Please consider whether you should go there. I don't tell them you must go. That I never tell. Because I'm not God. Consider this. It looks up to be a good opening. And if he writes back and says, no, brother, I didn't take it. I say, fine. Perfectly okay. I'm not offended. Because I want you to seek the Lord yourself. And supposing a person did not listen to me and he made a mess of his life. And he comes to me and says, Brother Zac, I'm sorry. I should have listened to you. I didn't listen to you and I bungled up everything and messed everything. I will never say these words, I told you so. Those words never come out of my mouth, not even to my children. Children sometimes come to you and say, Daddy, can I do this like this? And you say, no, son, you shouldn't do it like that. And then they don't, they think they're very cleverer than their father and they go and do something and spoil the whole thing. And they come to you. I never say, I told you so. That is the voice of the expert. I told you so. Do you tell people that? And God have mercy on you. If you talk like that, that's why your life is so miserable. God doesn't give you grace. Stop saying that. What we should say is, if a son comes up and didn't listen to you, messed up something, never mind, son. Let's fix the problem now. You bungled up something, let's fix the problem. And that's what I tell a believer who doesn't listen to me and messed up his life and comes to me and say, no, don't worry about the past. Let's fix the problem. Because that is how God dealt with Adam and Eve. God asked Adam, did you eat of that tree? He says, no, it's my wife. Okay, goes the wife. He didn't tell Adam anything. He didn't say, I told you so. No. God doesn't talk like that. Only human beings talk like that. God goes to the wife and said, did you do this? He says, no, it's the serpent. Okay, I'll leave both of you and go to the serpent. Let's fix this problem. That's how God says. The problem is with this, the devil. Let's fix it. Okay, Satan, the seed of this woman will crush your head one day. Problem is fixed. After the problem is fixed, then he comes to Adam and Eve. See, you have to reap what you have sown. That's a law. So now you've sinned, you can't escape that reaping. You're going to have a lot of problems in life. You're going to sweat, and the weeds and wild animals and all that will come up. But he was in that, even that he was merciful to them and covered them with. Do you know that that is the first place in the Bible where blood was shed? When God took an animal, killed it, took the skin from that animal, 2 animals, and clothed Adam and Eve with that woolen skin from an animal. And there, in the blood of that animal, was a picture of Christ dying for the sin of Adam and Eve. That's how God is. Before He sent them out of the garden, He clothed them. He shed the blood of an animal, a picture of Christ who was going to die on the cross. He said, now you can go. So what I've learned from that is, let's fix the problem. Then we will tell a person what to do. For example, when Peter was walking on the water to come to Jesus and he looked here and there and he began to sink, Jesus did not give him a lecture. What do you think would have happened if Jesus had given Peter a lecture? What do you think would have happened? He would have sunk to the bottom of the sea by the time the lecture is finished. He wouldn't even be able to hear half of it. He fixed the problem. Give me your hand, Peter. After he held him, then he gave him a lecture. You should have trusted me. I want to say to all of you parents, how to bring up your children. Small children, big children. They will always do something stupid, just like you did something stupid when you were younger and even after you became older. And fix the problem, then advise them. Say, son, my girl, it's okay, never mind, let's fix the problem. That's the way we must do it. You know, when I was a father, I didn't do it like that. Because I never had a spiritual father to tell me how to do it. In all my life, I never had a spiritual father. It is the one thing I lacked. I wanted to be like a Timothy, but I never found a Paul. And so I had to learn many things the hard way. But what I learned the hard way, I can teach you younger people, so that you don't make the same mistakes. Always say, let's fix the problem. That's how God is. So God deals with our past and we don't have to live in condemnation. I want to say to you, if you look at the past or look at it only for one reason, to be merciful to other people who are making mistakes today. That's good. When you see, sometimes people have come to me, believers, who have made such a mess of their life. I get so many emails regularly from people who have made an absolute mess of their life, mess of their married life. And I'll tell you before God, I don't despise any one of them. Sometimes I weep. And I say, oh Lord, what a lot that poor person is suffering. I never despise any of them because I remember my past. I remember how God's been good to me. And Lord, I want to be good to this person. I want to help that person in some way I can. That way you can remember the past, but never. I don't remember the past in the sense of condemnation. Oh, I messed up my life. I can't complete my course. I can complete my course. Because Paul messed up 30 years of his life and he still finished the course. I say, Lord, I can do that too. I have faith. And if you don't have that faith and you keep on saying, oh, I messed up so many years of my life, I can never complete the course, you will not complete the course. Not because you can't, but because you don't believe. And one day when you stand before the Lord and you say, Lord, I couldn't complete my course because I messed up 30 years of my life, the Lord will call somebody else. Look at this guy, he messed up 40 years of his life. How did he complete his course? Because he had faith in me. You didn't have faith, that is the thing. And that you'll see, oh, I wish I had faith. It's too late now. It's too late at the judgment seat of Christ. Now is the time to say, Lord, I believe you that I can complete the course. I want to take the rest of my life seriously. I can't keep playing the fool and complete my course. No. And all it requires, I believe there are basically humility and faith. If you always are willing to humble yourself and trust God, I want to say to every one of you, brothers and sisters, no matter how much you have failed, you can complete the course that God has appointed for you because He will help you to speed up and do many things. But if you sit in discouragement, you'll never complete it. And even after all that God has forgiven you, you still set your mind on earthly things and not on the things of heaven. If the things of earth still are more important to you and always you're sitting calculating how much money you've made and how much more money you're going to make, then I would say there's not much hope for you. Then you can sit and count your money and keep counting it till Jesus comes. I don't know whether you'll be there in God's kingdom. But if you say, Lord, I want to earn my living, that's fine. And you give me enough to earn my living. I don't want to sit thinking of how I can make more and more money beyond my needs. But I want to see how I can accomplish your purpose. I want to be a witness for you. See, in this matter of being a witness for Christ, to lead other people to this wonderful God who has forgiven us so much and who has been so good to us. And the Lord says, will you go and tell other people how good I've been to you? Will you go and tell other people how I forgive you all the wretched things you did? That's what it means to be a witness. What does a witness do in a court? A witness doesn't give a sermon. You can't say I'm a witness in a court and give the judge a sermon. The judge will say, shut up, I don't want to hear your sermon. Tell me what you saw and what you did. That's a witness. You don't have to be a preacher. A witness is what God did for me. I want to tell you fellas what God did for me. And to be a witness to other people. I think of, that CFC Bangalore and many of our churches have not grown in size by our conducting great campaigns and what they call crusades and all that. No. Most of the growth has come through people witnessing to one other person. Somebody brings somebody from their office saying, hey, would you like to come to our church next Sunday? We have only 1.5 hour service. We don't have a long service. 1.5 hours. We sing for half an hour and then we share God's word for 1 hour. And if you want to get up early and go, you can also get up early and go. But come. And the fellow comes and he accepts the Lord. And he tells his brother. And that chap comes. He accepts the Lord. Even children who've invited some of their friends. And the parents come and they accept the Lord. This is how CFC has grown. It's not by great evangelism and giving out a whole lot of tracts on the street and all that. It's by one-on-one witnessing, and every one of us can do that. Give a little book to somebody for their birthday, witness to someone, give the person a CD or a DVD. He may not listen to it immediately. One day in his time of need, he'll pick it up and listen to it and he'll get converted. It's very easy in our day to be a witness, and it doesn't cost much money. And I say, if you don't have enough money, the money you would have put in the offering box, don't put it in the offering box. This is the only church where you'll hear somebody saying, don't put money in the offering box. Use that money to buy a book or a CD and give it to somebody in need. That is your offering to God. That's as good as putting money in the offering box, to witness to somebody. And then on top of that, you brought somebody to Christ. And pray for that person. Don't just distribute it foolishly, but give it with prayer and in a loving way. Tell the person, see, here's something that's blessed me. That's what we're supposed to do now. And if we do that, the Bible says some of these people who die before us, whom we brought to Christ, will be waiting in heaven to welcome us. Thank you for helping me to find my way into God's kingdom. Don't you want somebody to welcome you when you go to heaven? Do you feel there are some people who will welcome you when you go to heaven? Or you live your life in such a selfish way that all that God did for you, you never told a single soul about it, when you could have. Let's be witnesses, brothers and sisters. There are many other churches. We can say what we teach in CFC is better than what we teach in those churches. In many ways it is true that our doctrine is probably superior to the doctrine of almost any other church. But I'll tell you something, that many other churches are 10 times better than us in witnessing to people. True. CFC, unfortunately, our CFC believers don't witness like the Pentecostals do, or the brethren. Some of them are very good witnesses for Christ. They may not know all the doctrines we know. They may not talk about victory over sin, but to the level in which they know, they share it with somebody. And they bring people to Christ. So we are inferior to them in that area. We have to acknowledge it and say, Lord, I want to be a witness for you. So that's something that we need to do in the present. And then We look forward to the future when Christ will come again. There's a goal that we are working towards the future. Our past is taken care of. In the present, we are seeking to be witnesses for Christ by our life. And that's why we speak about victory over sin. Do you know what victory over sin is really? To use an illustration. It's like being healthy. All of us would like to be healthy, right? We're saying don't eat rubbish. I've sometimes compared sin like this. Sin is like, you know the toilet bowl in the toilet? How many of you would like to lick it with your tongue? Put your tongue inside. Yuck! To lick that with your tongue. I prayed like this, to tell you honestly. I said, Lord, help me to see sin like licking the toilet with my tongue. Help me to see anger like licking the toilet with my tongue. Help me to see dirty thoughts like licking the toilet with my tongue. Help me to see murmuring and grumbling like licking the toilet with my tongue. Oh, give me a revulsion to these sins. I like to use word pictures. It helps me. Try it. You may get victory over your anger pretty quickly. And your dirty thoughts and your murmuring and grumbling. That's how we have to live in this present. I never in my life want to go and lick at the toilet even once. Even when other people are doing it and they say, hey, it's great, tasty, man, you should come and try it. I say, no, thank you. Not interested. Yeah, the world is full of people who say it's very tasty. Okay. That's your taste, it's not mine. Sorry, I'm not interested. I don't even want to try it once. You will not, even if somebody says, why don't you test it? Try it once. I say, no, thank you. I don't even want to try it once. That's what you young people should do when other friends of yours tell you to try something. What do you think of dirty movies? Movies, almost every movie has some sex scene in it. Some dirty part in it. There's all these Malayalam serials and it's all love affairs and things to stimulate ideas in the minds of young people which finally lead them to frustration. Some little dirty picture and you say, oh, the story is so interesting. 10 years from now, I guarantee you will forget the story. But that little bit of half a minute of some dirty part, that you'll remember. That is how our mind works. That's all the devil wants you to remember, because then he can keep on reminding you of that and give you dirty dreams for the next 30, 40 years because of one movie that you saw. Be very careful. There are good Christian movies, okay, but be careful about all these. Almost every worldly movie is filthy. Your mind is, you have to keep your mind pure. It's like licking a toilet bowl. I don't want to lick it. Even if someone puts a good chicken curry in that toilet bowl, sorry, I don't want it. They say, there's a good chicken curry there, man. Fine, if it's there, I don't want it. If it's on a plate, I'll have it. So if somebody says, oh boy, this story, you should watch this story in this movie. But there's a little bit of the filth in there. I don't want it. What am I going to lose by not hearing that story? See, we are foolish in some of these areas. And that's why our mind gets polluted. And then when our mind gets polluted, we become weak to overcome sin. So be very, very careful. There are so many things like this. If we preserve ourselves and say, Lord, I want to be a witness for Christ, then we can look forward to a future when Christ comes again, when we will be like Him. My goal in life is not just to see Jesus Christ. but to be like Him when He comes. Turn with me to 1 John and chapter 3. We've seen a little bit of our past, what to do with it, how God wants us to live in the present. And here is our future hope, 1 John and chapter 3. It says here in 1 John chapter 3 and verse 2, now we are children of God, we are born again, but we don't know what we will become. I mean, not we don't know, it has not yet become evident what we are going to be one day. But we know this, that when Jesus comes again, two things will happen. What are the two things that will happen when Jesus comes again? One, we will see Him face to face when He comes in the sky. And second, we will be like Him. We have a double hope. Most Christians speak only one hope. Jesus is coming and I'll see Him. I have two. Jesus is coming, I'll see Him and I'll be like Him. And because I have the second hope also, verse 3, I keep purifying myself till I become as pure as He is. Everyone, verse 3, who has this hope purifies himself until he becomes as pure as Jesus is. So my dear brother and sister, if you are not purifying yourself every day, I can boldly tell you, you do not have the hope of the second coming of Christ, whatever you may say. Because the Bible says everyone who has this hope does something. He doesn't just sit and say, I'm waiting for the coming of Christ. He purifies himself as he is pure. You know, some people despise us saying, what are you, a bunch of people just sitting purifying yourself? I say, that's right. I say, I agree. Why are we purifying ourselves? Because we got a hope that we'll be like Him when He comes. So I'm not ashamed when somebody says, you guys are just sitting and purifying yourself. I say, we are just obeying 1 John 3 verse 3. We're just testifying to the fact that we got a hope that one day we'll be like Him. And the proof of that is that every day we purify ourselves. We seek to cleanse ourselves from anything that's un-Christ-like in our life, because we have this hope that when Christ comes again, I want to be completely like Him. And if I'm not doing it, let me reverse verse 3. Let me read verse 3 like this. Everyone who does not purify himself every day does not have this hope of the second coming of Christ. That is correct. Everyone. If anybody is sitting here and you're not purifying yourself every day of your life to become Christ-like, I can say to you in Jesus' name, you do not have the hope of the second coming of Christ. I don't know what hope you have, and I don't know whether you're going to be ready for the second coming of Christ. Think of the cat who's always licking itself, wants to be perfectly clean. It's a wonderful hope we have. I don't know whether you realize that to become like Jesus Christ is far greater than becoming a multi-billionaire. It's greater than becoming the richest person in the world. There's nothing to equal it. All the things the world pursues after, money and pleasure and position and power, is garbage compared to becoming like Christ. I've seen it. And the more we pursue it, you know what happens? Our desire for money and position and power and honor, and even honor in the church, disappears. We have no more interest in it. We just want to be servants. We just want to serve. We just want to wash people's feet and be a blessing to other people. And if you pursue this, I'll tell you in Jesus' name, even if you think you're not very gifted and you don't know the Bible, God can use you and make you a blessing to other people. I want all of you, brothers and sisters, to become a blessing to all the other people in this church and to many others outside this church. So let's pray that we will cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves as He is pure. That's the hope we have. We will be like Him. Let's pray. Our Father in heaven, we want to glorify you, and we look back over a past that you have blotted out, cleansed. You said you will not remember it. We believe it. We live in a present where we are your witnesses, and you give us grace to overcome, and we cleanse ourselves, purify ourselves, and we look forward in this way to the day when you will come again, and we will see you face to face. And we'll realize in that day how much you loved us, how much you forgave us. We don't want to wait till that day. We want to forgive others right now. We want to treat other people right now the way you've treated us. So that one day when you come again and we see you face to face, Lord Jesus, we don't want to have any regret over the way we have lived on this earth in that day. Help us, each one here. I pray that every single brother and sister bowed down here. I don't believe they'd be sitting here if they didn't have a desire for you. I thank God for all these dear brothers and sisters who have a desire for you. I pray that you will encourage them in the struggles they have in their home, in their work. Encourage them and help them to know that you're on their side against the devil, and you can solve their problems, and you can lift up their discouraged spirits. Thank you, Father. I pray that you'll bless every family here and every single person. Meet every need. Thank you for hearing us. In Jesus' name, amen.